Hello, so in this video we're going to practice with some of our new subderivation strategies. So we're going to say go ahead and show conclusion. Good. We want to make an assumption. Can we do assume CD? No, because we're not trying to show a conditional. We're not trying to argue from an antecedent to a consequent. We're saying that's what you can't do. So we're going to do assume ID instead, which gives us if P then not R, and we'll go ahead and bring in our premises. Well, we're kind of stuck. So we need to do a subderivation. What subderivation should we do? Well, if we got if P then Q, which is the unnegation of 3, we would be done because we could apply ID. Also, if we got if R then Q, the unnegation of 4, we'd be done because we could apply ID. So let's just pick one of those. We don't know which one to do, so we'll go ahead and say show unnegation of 3. If we can get if P then Q, we're good to go. So we'll say assume CD, which gives us P. Now at this point, we have two options. We could go ahead and use P, or we could do our show cons automatically. Let's go ahead and use P. So 2, 6 modus ponens gives us negation R. Can we do anything with negation R? No. So the derivation is stuck. So now we need to do another subderivation, and we want to do show cons, because that's going to help us complete box and cancel line 5. It's not going to help us box and cancel the main derivation, but we're not in the main derivation. Right now we're in the subderivation of 5. We want to box and cancel line 5. If we get Q, then we can box and cancel line 5. So that's why we're going to do show cons. Well, what do we want to say? We should say assume ID. Can we do anything? No. Not Q doesn't help us do anything more. Right? The only conditional we have is on line 2, and we've already used it. So the derivation is stuck, so we need to do another subderivation. What should we do? Well, hopefully we can remember we haven't done anything. We've used 2 because we've done modus ponens with it. We're in the sort of setting up to use 3. Once we complete this, we'll use 3, as we'll say ID with these 2. But we're not doing anything having to do with 4 yet. So let's say show a negation of 4. If we can get if R then Q, then we'll be able to do ID in here, inside of show Q, and that'll let us box and cancel line Q, and that will let us box and cancel line 5, and that'll let us box and cancel line 1. If we get if R then Q, we can do ID, which will box and cancel line 8, which we can then use for CD to box and cancel line 5, and then we can do ID with 3 and 5. So we're going to do this because it's going to help us complete that. So, okay, good. We'll say assume CD. We get R. Okay, well, can we do anything with R? You might think we can't, but let's take another look. On line 7, we have negation R. And that means we have a contradiction between 11 and 12. Okay, it's a little bit odd. Again, what basically we're saying is, oh, whenever you have not R, you can get if R then Q, and that's weird, but that's because this arrow symbol is a little funny, and it doesn't work the way if then works in English exactly. If you remember from the truth table of the conditional is false whenever the antecedent is false. The antecedent is R, and R is false, and so this whole thing is true, and that's what we're doing right here. Assume CD gives me R. Oh, well, that contradicts line 7, so we're going to say 11, 12 ID. Hooray, good. Pretty straightforward. Maybe strange, but straightforward. So we can bring down line 4 now because it's, remember, we did this because it's an unnegation of line 4, which means that this contradicts line 4. So let's bring down line 4, and we have another ID. Good. Now, so we've just boxed and canceled line 8. We want to use it. Why do we do line 8? Show cons. Oh, so 8 is the consequent of the previous show line, so we can apply CD to line 8, and that will box and cancel the previous show line. Good. Why did we do this? Because it's the unnegation of line 3. So this and line 3 are contradictory, so we can apply ID. And we are done. Okay? So we can see what this shows. There are two things this demonstrates. One is that sometimes we'll do show unneg multiple times, but we'll do it with different lines. So first we do show unneg with 3, and then when we get stuck, when we get to here, then we did show unneg with 4. And we could have done it the other way around, show unneg 4 and then show unneg 3. that would have been fine as well. So that's the one thing this shows. The other thing is that, oh, there's sometimes this funny way of getting conditionals now that we have ID. Because if we get to always assume the antecedent, and if we have the negation of the antecedent, then we can just apply ID right away. Okay? And that's because the conditional in the logical language is a little bit simpler than the conditional in English, if then, or C, or whatever. All right, so that's show Unneg, and we'll have one more video showing some more strategies.